Hey cuties, I'm Lanikia, and you're watching the Equalizer Recap Review. This is season 3, episode 4, called The One Percenter. And it was a really good episode on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm gonna have to give it an 8. It was good to me. We see that, okay, so there's a biker boy, right? And these men are there. But before we get to that, we see that there's a van, and all these people are coming and getting guns out of this van because it's just open, and all these people are just walking up, getting them a gun or whatever, and gun or two, and they're just walking up and getting one. And then we see that they go to this bar, and this man named T-Bone is there, and they said, hey, they said, T-Bone, you have a phone call. So it's the biker club's bar and everything. So he goes and he answers, and they like, hey, T-Bone, your van is out here and there's cops all over it because there's guns that's been left in there and people have been getting them and everything. And so then the next thing you know, the biker club gets raided. But T-Bone manages to escape. So then we go to Robin, Aunt Vi, and Delilah. And they're excited because their favorite television show is coming on. And so they're ready to watch it. And the television show was very similar to The Equalizer, which I thought was cute. But so they're excited to watch this show, right? It's like, okay, let's go. Let's see what's going to go on. And so they make plans, but the TV cable is out. So they said, okay, who can be here to take care of it? And Robin says, I can't. And Vi says, I can be here at the beginning part of the day, but at the end of the day, she wouldn't. But Delilah says, well, I can, my last 2 classes are not really classes, they're study. And so I can come in early. So they're like, okay, let's take care of it. So that's it, y'all. They're just excited about this TV show, and they're going to meet up tonight. So then we see Robin goes and she meets with Storm. Now, Storm is T-Bone's girlfriend, the one who got the police are trying to bust because they think he is trafficking. And so she tells Robin, T-Bone, yes, he got into trouble, but once he got straight, he really got straight. He did not deal with the law. He's been going to counseling so that he can deal with his anger issues. Like, he's not that guy anymore. So him doing this with guns, she's just like, that's not him.
My man T-Bone is on the run from the law.
Why is that?
His van was found filled with guns.
Yeah, I saw it on the news.
And now they're accusing him of trafficking. That's a federal offense. That's serious time. But he's innocent. Somebody set him up.
How are you so sure of that?
I know my man.
I'm sorry, but that's not concrete evidence.
T-Bone is an ex-felon. Ex. But he changed his life. Stopped drinking, even started going to therapy to deal with his anger issues. He would never risk going back to jail.
She's like, I know my man and he would not do this. Like, point blank, period. He wouldn't do this. But she's just like, all right, I'm gonna take your case. And so Robin and Mel, they all talk, and Mel says he's in a biker gang. Like, he was doing so well, and he joined the biker gang, and Robin lets her know it's not a gang, it's a club, and they do a lot of great things for the community. And so they say, well, we would have to find T-Bone to know what's going on with him. And so they try to find like the last place he could have been at, or where they think he is. And so they go and they look, and Robin runs into Shorty. So she thinks it's T-Bone on the bicycle, but it's actually Shorty, and that's Shorty. That wasn't a better picture of him, y'all. So she runs into Shorty, and she's like, "Where's T-Bone?" But he's not giving it up because he's like, "We don't snitch." And she was like, I need to find T-Bone. She's trying to help him. But Shorty says he doesn't know anything and he wish he could help. And she says, if I find out you're lying to me, I'm coming back for you. And it won't be nice. So she lets him go. So then we see Mel and Harry, they're trying to dig in and find more information about T-Bone, because Robin had asked Shorty, has he gotten into it with anyone? And the only person that he knew that he gotten into it with was Joe.
So why do we think Buffalo Joe might have it
Out for T-Bone.
I don't know, but I'm also wondering why Storm didn't tell Robin about their beef.
Maybe she didn't know. I mean, boys do keep their secrets.
Hey, wait a minute. The only secrets I ever kept are from the government.
Mm-hmm. Any luck finding the van footage?
All the cameras in the area are either broken or they need to be updated. There was this one on the corner that should have a pretty good shot of the action, but I can't get access. Might be an air gap security measure.
That's a serious measure for such a small bank.
I don't know, that's what I was thinking. Well, I'll keep digging and see what I can find.
Sorry about the background noise. Mila was giving y'all a little entertainment as well. So anyways, so they're like, okay, he had beef with Buffalo Joe. So let's find out like what would that be about. So they're trying to locate his van as well because they want to see like if T-Bone is innocent, then who put his van there and everything. So they say, okay, let's meet up with Dante. Robin says, I'm gonna meet up with Dante and check it out. So Dante pulls her over. And she says, I clocked you like 4 blocks ago. But he tells her that somebody definitely had hot wired the van. So T-Bone did not move it. Somebody else had done it. And they said, okay, so someone is obviously setting him up. Now we need to find out who. And so he tells her if he finds out anything else, he would definitely let her know. But as of right now, they're just going based on their leads. But they want to speak to Buffalo Joe since he had the beef and everything. And so then Dante said, can I see you later on? And I said, excuse me?
Well, I was on my way to see the leader of the club, Buffalo Joe. That is before I was kidnapped by the donor bandit.
Hey. Can I see you later?
I don't know. Can you? Well, I was on my way to see the leader of the
I said, when he starts seeing you later, Robin. Okay. But y'all know I love this couple. So I'm here for it, and I'm here for the slow build and everything. So she's going to see Buffalo. She's going to see Buffalo Joe, and he's going to look at there's a Mayor Moore, and he's connected to Buffalo Joe, and so he's going to look at him. Now when he gets there, he sees the opponent, which is Bass. And so Dante starts talking to Bass's mom. Bass is back there in the background, and that's his mom. Her husband had actually been the mayor, and he said, yeah, he had done a really great job, but I think he had passed away. So now she was just supporting her son. And so her son says, Moore is connected to the biker gang, and they put guns on the street and all of this. And then that's when Moore comes up, and he was like, don't talk foolish to me. That gang is good for the community. That's not a biker gang, that's a club. And we don't associate with putting guns and everything on the streets. But anyways, Moore made Bass leave because he was just like, and his mom made him leave as well because Bass was getting really upset because he was like, because Moore just called him a liar. He was like, we don't put guns on the street, and anyone I associate with wouldn't do that. You're a liar. So then we see that Robin goes to meet with Buffalo Joe. So Robin goes to meet with Buffalo Joe, and here, like, they really in this code where we don't talk, we're not snitching. So she puts money on the table, and she said, if I sink this 8-ball, because they were playing pool, then I get 5 minutes of your time. If I lose, you get all this money. And so she sank it, and then she was like, okay, what's your beef with T-Bone? And then Buffalo Joe nods his head, and then his boys start surrounding her, and she was like, really?
What's your beef with T-Bone?
I want this fast or slow.
Seriously?
Yes, you will.
You playing it like this? What's your beef?
And while she's fighting them, Buffalo Joe gets away, and she looks, and Storm is on the back of his bike, and she's like, what is going on here? So she goes back and with Harry, she goes back with Harry and Mel, and they're trying to figure out what exactly is going on. does Robin think Storm is playing them? And she says, no, I don't know, but we need to find out the connection with Joe and the mayor and how they tie into Storm, because they find that Storm actually lives in the building that is owned by the mayor. So they're like, what's going on? So then Dante goes to talk to him, and Leo, the bodyguard, he's like grilling Dante, and the mayor comes out and he's like, Leo can just be overzealous, back down. Dante is cool, come on in. So he sits down and he talks to them or whatever. And he was like, I want to know your connection to Buffalo Joe. And so then Buffalo Joe comes out, and so Dante was like, Buffalo Joe was like, I need to know what's going on with T-Bone and how Storm ties into this. You can trust me. And so Buffalo Joe knows Dante's dad, and he's like, really? The son of, he calls Dante's dad's name. And the Mayor Moore was like, no, 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 he's cool. Like, he's on the up and up. He plays by the rules. And so they feel relaxed. So they start telling him that we're actually her godfathers. I guess once her dad passed away, they took over taking care of her. And the rule in the biker club is you don't mess with Storm. You can date anybody you want to date, but not Storm. And so that's their beef with T-Bone. And he was dating her. But they said, as far as him having beef, like, it wasn't that serious. Like, they don't like that he was dating Storm, but they wouldn't do that to him. And they said, but Buffalo Joe does tell him he was actually working in security at this other club, and there was an altercation there, so you might want to look into that. So Dante was like, all right, cool. So then we see Mel and Harry are continue to look, because they looked to see the video footage where Dante was, where the T-Bone's van was parked, and they know it's been doctored, but they was like, but who would do this? And it was like, it had to be somebody at the bank, because it was coming from the bank video feed. And they said, okay, it's one member of the bank who had a large sum of money just flowed in. He only makes $75,000 a year, but for some reason he was able to pay off his wife's $30,000 medical bill, and he had an influx of cash come into his account. So they go and speak to Eddie.
Okay, look, I was approached by a man who said he would pay me handsomely if I were to find this 18 bank video and cut out some footage.
So what'd you cut?
It was footage of a man pulling in a van, opening the door, and walking away. That's it.
You remember what the guy looked like?
He was fit, he wore a cap, he had sunglasses, and he had polished shoes and tan slacks.
What about marks, tattoos?
As a matter of fact, on his wrist, but I could only see part of it. It was a sun with the number 7 on it.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Eddie.
So they get the information from him, and they're like, okay, so we know we're looking for a man with this tattoo, the star and the number 7. So then Miles has been blowing Robin up the whole time, and Aunt Vi texts her, and she said, Miles is here, and he says he's not leaving until you get here. So Robin comes home, and she tells Mom Miles is trying to work on the TV because they missed the the cable man. So he says, oh, I couldn't work on it. But anyways, he's asking Robin what's been going on. And she tells him, I can't tell you. And he's like, I need to know what's going on. Are you working for the CIA? And she just looks at him, and he says, even if you were, you wouldn't tell me. And she tells him, I'm keeping Delilah safe. I just can't tell you everything.
Tell me the truth or no?
Miles, when the time is right, I will. Right now, I can't.
Okay, I tried. You leave me no choice.
Wait, what's that supposed to mean?
I'm filing for full custody of Delilah.
That's not gonna happen.
Well, then I hope you're ready to tell the court what you won't tell me.
I'm honestly not here for this storyline, because I like when she's just focused on solving her case. I don't need her being distracted by Miles. I get it. It's a more personal storyline, but I don't care about him. I don't care about him. So anyways, and Delilah is I do want her to be safe, but Delilah is of the age now where she can say who she wants to stay with. But we'll see how this all turns out, since they're wanting to make this a storyline and add him in to it. So she goes to meet up with Harry and Mel, and she tells them what that Miles wants full custody. And they tell her what, he can't do that, and she says she doesn't know, she's worried. And Harry says, Mel and Harry are like, that he knows you would always protect Delilah and you wouldn't put her in danger. She said, but I kind of already have, with everything that's been going on. She doesn't do it on purpose, but her doing this mission, helping other people could put Delilah in danger, and it has before. And so she feels bad about that. So when they're talking about that, Harry gets a ding, and they're like, what's up? And he says, Shorty might be living off the grid, because Shorty does live. I mean, T-Bone lives off the grid. But the bike that Josephine, which is his bike, that Shorty has been riding, has been collecting parking tickets. And they're mostly all in this one area. So they go to look for. And so Robin is just like, Shorty. And he was like, oh, dang. And T-Bone was coming out, because he was bringing T-Bone some food. And so T-Bone was coming out, and he tells her, T-Bone, this is her, run, go. And so T-Bone starts running. And when he starts running, Robin stops him. She says, T-Bone, I'm trying to help you. Like, Storm sent me. And he was just like, tell Storm she needs to move on.
Who are you?
I'm a friend of Storm's. She's worried about you.
Storm needs to move on. We both know how the story is.
I can help. You just have to tell me who's trying to frame you and why.
Nobody can help me.
Whatever this is, it's not worth dying for.
Somebody has to pay. My name and my honor, all I have.
And so he has a weapon that he's going to use, to make someone pay, because he's like, I don't have anything else. Like, everything's been taken from me, and this is all I had. This is what I had pride in and dignity in. And now they're trying to say I'm flooding the streets with guns, and I'm like this bad biker thug or something. He was like, that's not going to work for me. So nope, I'm going to do what I need to do. So Robin then tells Dante what's going on, and she tells him you need to get over there, because we need to find out where T-Bone is headed, because I think he's going to kill he's going to kill someone as well as himself. She's on a suicide mission, or for whoever he thinks did this to his name. So then we see Dante goes, and because they find out that at the club that T-Bone was working at, there had been like an assault, but nobody knew anything whenever it came to the club. When the police came, nobody would speak on it. And T-Bone and this one girl, she quit, or she got fired. But either way, she stopped working there. And so Dante says, let me talk to her, because, she wasn't willing to just be quiet, and just take money.
A few days ago, this chacho came along saying that I should take the money this time. And I was like, no way, because they pay you, they own you.
Same guy from the club?
No, that was an older lady dressed nice. But this guy, he dressed normal. Khakis, baseball cap, real plain.
Any tattoos?
Yes, on his wrist. But I only got a glimpse of it.
Who was the high roller? Candidate Bass.
So they find out it was Bass. Bass is the one who came in. He roughed the girl up at the club. T-Bone worked as a bouncer, so T-Bone handled up on him. And then his mom, Bass's mom, she was the one who came through and paid everyone off. But this young lady said, "Nah, you're not gonna pay me off. Like, I'm not gonna say anything, but you're not just gonna pay me off like this, and it's gonna be all good." So then we see Robin, Mel, and Harry. They figure out that that Bass and Moore are about to debate, and that's probably where T-Bone is going to go, and he's going to attack Bass there. So they get to the debate, and that's exactly what happens. T-Bone pulls a gun out on Bass, and all these police are there because it's a debate, and these are candidates. And so all these police are there and they pull their guns out and they're telling T-Bone, to drop the gun, but he tells them he's gonna confess. So Bass ends up confessing to not being faithful to his wife, being with strippers, doing drugs and everything. And T-Bone said, "And what about the guns? You set me up." And Bass was like, "No, I didn't do that." He was like, "No, I did everything else, but that part, that wasn't me." So then Dante finally talks T-Bone off the ledge. He says, "I know you're innocent. Let me help you prove that you're innocent." And T-Bone, like, people like me don't get another second chance. Like, they already think I did it. And Dante was like, "If you let me prove it, we can find out who's really behind this." And so T-Bone put the gun down and, they were able to, stop him from killing Bass. So then Robin, Mel, and Harry are talking because Harry's on the phone with them. And they're like, who is the man with the tattoo? Because if Bass wasn't doing this, who was doing this? And they figure out it's Leo. Remember, Leo is the Mayor Moore's bodyguard. And they figure out that he actually worked for Bass Senior back in the day. He was discharged for his military because he did some messed up stuff. So he was discharged, and the senior Bass actually hired him, but he was never officially on payroll because he was the hatchet man. He did all the dirty jobs. So unbeknownst to Bass Moore or Bass's mom, Mrs. Bass, Leo has been doing all this dirty job work to try to cover up the tracks of Bass, the one who's going, Bass Jr. He's been trying to cover up all of the different tracks and everything. And so once they find this out, they're like, "Oh my gosh, Leo is on the move, so we got to stop him." So Mel goes after him and tries to stop him, and that's when he starts confessing about, yes, I had to plant the guns and everything, so that because Bass was behind in the numbers against Moore. So to plant the guns and make it tie with the biker club that Moore was connected to, it made it seem like, oh, this is just a thug and he's connected to all these thugs, even though that wasn't the truth. But it would sink Moore's numbers and make Bass numbers go up so he could actually win the race.
Your son Bob will do the same. Just takes more than votes and luck.
You broke the law, Leo. Those guns are hurting people.
Winning comes with casualties.
About time you got here.
You must think I'm a real idiot to fall for that one.
Hey, Leo.
Your son Bob will do the same. Just takes.
So as you can see, Robin was able to come through and take Leo down, and so they were able to solve the case. And then later on, they have their movie night because they wanted to watch their show, and the TV is working. And Robin was like, "I thought we missed the repairman. How'd y'all get the TV working?" And Aunt Vi and Delilah are looking at each other like, "Oh, we figured it out. We put our heads together and figured it out." And they said, "Oh my gosh, you." And Robin's like, "You called Harry, didn't you?" And they were like, "He didn't mind." And she was like, "You can't use Harry for that. That's like telling Elon Musk to fix a toaster." She was like, because Harry is such a genius and techie and all that, and you're sitting here calling him, talking about, "Help me fix the TV." But I'm sure Harry had, he had no problem helping Delilah do that. But so they're enjoying themselves, and Aunt Vi goes to get condiments because they have their popcorn and pizza, and so they're like, "Oh, what do you want on your popcorn?" So she goes to get that, and then Delilah said, "How did it go with Dad?" And Robin tells her we're still hashing everything out. Miles, I'm gonna tell you now, Delilah ain't gonna want to go with you, sir. She want to know what her mama doing, and she wants to be a part of it. So then we see that so they're about to watch the show, right? And it's coming on, and I said, "Are y'all watching the Equalizer?" So, anyways, it came on and everything, right? And then the next thing you know, it's interrupted because it's about the mayor and the race and Bass and everything. And they look at Robin, they're like, "You did this, didn't you?" You got our show interrupted. So then we see Robin goes and she speaks to Moore, and he just says he can't believe Leo worked for him and he didn't know, like, he was dirty. And she said, he was a manipulator. And so most people didn't know that was he was a trained liar and a deceiver. And but anyways, the guys from the biker club, they give her a jacket and they make her an honorary member because she did them a solid. And so then they say, all right, let's ride. And so they ride. And I honestly think Queen Latifah, I wonder, did they let her do her own stunts? Because y'all, and I also wonder, are they some of these people members in her, like her real um biker club? Because y'all know, she loves bikes and everything. So I was just wondering, is that it, was that part of them as well, showing that? Because, and I wonder, did she do her own stunts? But anyways, guys, that was The Equalizer. It was a really good episode. If y'all are not watching East New York, you have to watch that show. It is so good. But thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week. They didn't show an episode for next week, so maybe it's not going to come on next week, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'll see you on the next episode of The Equalizer. Goodbye.